Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and today it is time for a professional match of Protoss versus Protoss. Spawning here in the bottom right hand corner of Cyber Forest and playing with the blue Protoss probes, we are looking inside of the main base of Hero. And his opponent spawning in the opposite corner playing with the red colors. Now I think I'm gonna have to be honest here to Hero, I mean, yeah, the red colors look way nicer, I'm sorry. But we have none other than Trap. I mean, they're giving me that Tal'Darim Protoss vibe, right? I definitely think that the red colors are the way to go with this. I think it's called Forged Protoss skins. Looks way nicer. Anyways, this is gonna be a PvP between two very high-level top Korean players. Hero, of course, used to be extremely good, especially back in the day. I think a lot of people considered him to be maybe even like the best Protoss player at some point. He won an SSL, if I'm not mistaken. He won a whole bunch of IEM events as well. And while recently he certainly did make a resurgence, I have been very impressed, especially with Trap, over like the last half a year or so. Trap is a player that I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on. Everyone's pretty familiar with how good Hero is and how successful he has been. Trap is on Jin Air Green Wings. It's the same team as Maru, SOS, Rogue. I mean, there's a couple more players on there, but basically all of the players on Jin Air are absolutely phenomenal, and I feel like a lot of people don't really give Trap nearly as much credit as he deserves. So we'll see where this game is going to take us. Now, historically speaking, obviously, PvP is a matchup that is very much so dominated with 4 gateways. I don't know how many of you watched StarCraft 2 back in like 2010, 2011, but for the longest time, until I believe they nerfed the warp gate research speed or something like that, it basically was just dominated with both players going for 4 gateways and then making a bunch of stalkers and them just simply headbutting. All of the mirror matchups in StarCraft 2 have come a very, very long way. I mean, I think the highest contender right now for best game of the year is a Zerg vs. Zerg, right? That's the game that Cero recently played against Sue at IEM Katowice on year 0 Ellie. I mean, that game, I don't want to spoil it for you in case you haven't seen it yet. I would have casted it myself if, you know, I didn't watch the game already. But I think that game probably makes up for Game of the Year material. And I really think that all of the matchups in StarCraft, including the mirror matchups, have evolved to a point where they are extremely exciting to watch. Now, I'm a little bit biased in PvP towards that really, really awesome Disruptor Blink Stalker composition. I think it's so much fun. It's just fireworks left and right, but sadly for me, it's not nearly as common as just your much more conventional playstyle of, for example, Archon Immortal Zealot. We see that obviously, very, very obviously. Or very, very common, rather, obviously. So, we see a Stargate coming up here for Trap. Hero has opted to go for the much quicker expansion here on the low ground instead. This is very much so a stylistic choice. I don't really mind the position here for Trap. He actually decided to go for Stalkers as well as his opponent right now going for a couple Adepts. Now this is a map that allows you to defend your natural quite easily because of this ramp leading up. So you don't have to worry about your opponent being able to like poke in and out just like that too aggressively. Oftentimes, having the Stalkers here on the high ground can put you in a relatively defensive position. Now, the Adepts are going to try and shade up towards the high ground and will at the very least confirm the expansion here for our player in red. And this is actually one of those very minor changes that has recently happened in StarCraft 2. Trap decided to put the probe right here on idle, actually, so I wonder if that means that he is feeling really confident, but we see the same right here for Hero. It used to be the case that you only put a single square right here to, you know, have a Zealot on, like, hold position or something along those lines. Nowadays, it's very common to put 2 little squares there instead, just in case you need to put down a pylon. It doesn't matter, obviously. You can still prevent the shades from getting into the main base, but every once in a while, you have to mass recall towards the main base, and sometimes Archons get stuck behind the single gap. So this is one of those very minor changes at very high-level PvP that we've seen recently, where there's 2 gaps that are being left rather than just a single one. Well, I do think, though, that I like this position here for Trap quite a bit. It is going to be a War Prism opener here for Hero, right? So the War Prism, obviously, is going to be pretty good in general, but not so much when your opponent is going for a lot of Phoenixes. I believe that the hallucinated Phoenix here from Hero did end up scouting the Stargate earlier, so apparently he doesn't care too much. Obviously, the Prism is going to be phenomenal here for keeping track of your opponent, but I do feel like it's a suicide mission to go across the map, because as soon as Trap realizes that the Prism is out, I feel like he's just simply going to send his Phoenixes after it, and there's really no way for the Prism to escape. Still, though, it's a good way to keep track of what your opponent is doing and to build up towards a higher tech, and apparently, it is going to be that Templar Archives right here for Hero. Trap, though, going to continuously make Phoenixes. I actually really like Mass Phoenix in PvP. This is not going to be a double Stargate. It's going to be a transition towards Robo here for Trap. I'm personally really partial to that Mass... Oh, the Phoenixes just barely missed the Prism there, but I'm very partial to the Mass Phoenix style. I think it's really good. Obviously, it's great for harassment. They're great at killing pretty much all the things right now that are available in the game, other than, of course, these Stalkers. But later on in big engagements, you can go ahead and use it to your advantage as well, because you can lift up the Immortals very easily with the leftover Phoenixes. So I'm a big fan of Mass Phoenix styles, but that's not going to be the case in this particular match. Now, the Prism... apparently, it's feeling brave. It's on a bit of a suicide track, though. Not gonna lie. And I think as soon as you know, Trap realizes that the Prism is out, he's probably gonna try and see if he can find it. But it did get, at the very least, a couple of those Adepts warped in while the Phoenixes are preoccupied inside of the main base of Hero. And here we go. Hero is gonna try and see if he can get a couple of those pro kills. Obviously, it takes only 2 Adepts to one-shot those workers, and that's a nice little bit of pressure here. At the same time, we see them shading towards the main base, but luckily for Trap, he got the kill on one of them, and there is a shield battery ready to kill whatever he can find. So relatively macro-focused game here for both players. It's kind of funny. It's like, you know, several roads leading to Rome, right? It's a very mirrored opening here in the end. And even though there were several different paths to get there, both players are looking right now like they're going for a very, very similar unit composition. We see additional gateways coming up here for both sides. Oh, I love this. Getting the sentries is actually massive. He's got to get all 3 of them. Okay, that's a big deal. Anyways, I was going to say, we see a lot of gateways coming up here for our player in blue. And the same can be said right now on the other side of the map. But you really, really do want to get yourself those sentries out with as much energy as you can. And since it takes a lot of time for that energy to accumulate, it's going to be difficult for Hero to take those mid-game engagements. Now, I love those feedbacks there. Very nicely done. Although one of the High Templar apparently had to pay for that with its life as well. The Phoenixes are still feeling brave, but Trap showcasing us some excellent micro. He hasn't really lost a whole lot throughout this game just yet. And this is what I love about those Phoenix openers. Look at that. Ooh. He actually didn't decide to go for the pylon there, interestingly enough. Maybe he was trying to bait the warp as well. But this is what I love about the Phoenix opener, right? It just simply gives you so much value. Literally all matchups. I mean, for those of you that have been watching a lot of my videos over the last couple of months, you know that I've become a big fan of just Phoenix builds in general. I even love seeing the +1 air weapon. I think it's really, really strong in PvZ especially. I think it's really good. I lose every game against it whenever Protoss players do that against me and I'm Zerg, so, yeah. For what that's worth. Anyways, we see another Prism coming up right now. It depends right now what is going to happen on what Trap wants to do. So Trap is moving over towards that 3rd Nexus location, and I think he might very well be grabbing himself a 3rd Nexus here as well. That's the thing, right? You need a lot of gateways in order to stay safe, but oftentimes there's this weird gentleman's agreement where neither player really wants to push too aggressively across the map. Nice little bit of target firing right here by Hero. Trying to get some of those weakened units, but Trap calculating exactly how much he can utilize those Phoenixes, and he manages to once again get it out of there without too much trouble. Now actually we see Psionic Storm coming up here for Hero. Not a super common upgrade actually in PvP, although we've seen it a lot more recently. Trap though going for the much more classical unit composition, and he does of course have some of those high energy sentries, so he can use the Guardian Shield there to prevent some of that range damage from coming up. Now you gotta keep in mind, oh my god, he actually got, oh he got all of them! He got, well actually no, there's still a couple of them remaining. I don't know if they dropped out just now or what went down there, but the Prism ended up getting killed. It did have a couple of those High Templar in it. Hero is actually in a very peculiar spot right now, sitting on the high ground. The 3rd base is extremely vulnerable here, and there's a concave set up right now by Trap. Yeah, look at that. He's setting up units right there on the ramp, and he's baiting his opponent to go out. It's like, come down if you want to. And there we go. Hero does decide to commit right there to the low ground, although I don't think that's a position you want to be in, right? This is going to be super strange. The Zealots are going to charge into each other. It's going to be an absolute mess. Those Phoenixes are going to be able to lift up those Immortals very, very nicely as well. And I think that means that this is going to be the end of that third Nexus here for Hero. Trap securing the low ground here, sniping a bunch of those High Templar, getting himself into a phenomenal spot where he's just simply baiting his opponent to come out. Alright, now, where exactly are you going to take this if you're Hero? You have to make the call at some point. When do you want to move down? Oh, and I think that moment is right now. Ooh, super cautious play there by Trap. He doesn't want to just charge up. Hero is trying to bait his opponent into the choke point as well. But Trap notices what's going on. He doesn't want to fight this until he gets that really good engagement that he set up for himself. Love the Phoenix is going in, although one of them does end up finding its death right over here. But this is a weird spot here for Hero. How are you going to solve this? He's going for another War Prism. I was going to say, he doesn't have one here anymore, and he also has a Dark Shrine coming. Dark Shrine, of course, a great way to try and get back into the game. Love the Phoenix is once again maneuvering around. Oh my god, they're getting 2 more Templar. And this is what I mean, right? Trap phenomenal at getting back, you know, on those units that are just barely out of position, getting so much value out of the small army that he's got. Well, I say small army, but it's actually become rather big. Regardless, another Prism snuck out of the main base, and this is one of the things that Trap hasn't seen. Every single time, Prisms leave from the left-hand side of the main base, and this actually can be rather scary. Dark Shrine is just about to finish up. We see a recall forced right now. Immediately, the Zealots do turn back around, and the Prism, it's actually gonna head towards the main base. Now, how many observers are there? There's 1 observer. Oh my god, there's only 1 observer here for Trap. Trap has 1 observer out. He just utilized... Do you think that's what these Zealots were doing? They were forcing the mass recall of his opponent? Because these Archons were recalled, and that's fine and all, but the DTs are currently going into the bases. 1 is in the natural, 1 is in the third, and then 2 are headed into the main as well. They're gonna go after as many of those pylons as possible. Mass recall can't be utilized as the observer is on the other side of the map, and it's on cooldown. Dude, so many probes end up falling. You blink once and the probes are gone. That's 28 probes, 29 probes, and they're not done just yet. Immediately, Trap is forced to go back home. And that means that Hero has found himself some wiggle room. He's gonna replant down the third Nexus, but so many probes have gone down already. That's a ridiculous amount of damage here with just 4 Dark Templar. Hero apparently is smelling blood in the water. He wants to go across the map right now. He needs to be careful though. Trap has been mining a lot more than he did for the longest time, but only 9 probes remain. They're still going. The Dark Templar are still going. He actually got the kill right there on the pylon that was powering the robotics facility. Still though, Trap's army is humongous here, right? That's 110 supply versus 74 and quickly dropping as well. Hero needs to be careful. You know what? 40 probes going down in the blink of an eye. I think what Hero needs to do is just simply sit back and bank on his economic advantage, right? I mean, the economic advantage was in favor of Trap here just a second ago. So normally what you do, right? I don't know if that was on purpose or if he calculated that, but normally what you do is you recall the observer, or obviously you get a second one in advance and you sort of leave that close to your base. Well, speaking of recall, there it is. It's gone. If you, get the Zealots across and you force a couple of those units to recall as well, at least the chances there. Obviously, you could also use, just a warp in to reinforce that, but he kept on warping in over here. Anyways, I wonder if Hero did that on purpose. I think he did. Super clever move there. 500 IQ Dark Templar decisions. Oh wait, I already made a video that was called 500 IQ. 1000 IQ Protoss decision making. All right. I mean, I started at like 200 IQ, then 500. At some point, I'm gonna be at 9000 IQ Protoss decision making, dude. This is pretty sick. Anyways, Trap still utilized that bigger army that he's got though to move across the map and snipe his opponent's turret and Nexus. And I think that Hero actually made the right call to not really push down that ramp. Although, look at the resources left over inside of the main and the natural. Those are very, very skinny mineral patches. So even though he's got that economic advantage, he doesn't have that much more income than his opponent, although it's still certainly more than what Trap has right now with the 6 probes that remain. Apparently one Dark Templar tried to get a little bit cheeky there, but I love this army though, right? Really scary looking force here for Hero. Are there any High Templar remaining? No, there's one Dark Templar, also known as a Dank Templar. There he is, 11 kills. What a baller, just hanging out right there at the Nexus. This is the retirement home of the Protoss, but While that's happening, though, we do see a really scary red Protoss ball making its way towards his opponent's side of the map. Immediately, the what are they called? The Phoenixes do swoop in. They want to try and lift up as many of those Immortals as they possibly can. But still, that's a lot of Archons stuck right there in the back for Trap. Trap actually trying to micro some of those units back to the front. But I think I favor the Concave right here for Hero quite a bit. Trap falls down in army supply. And Hero, he's still mining. He just got himself that third Nexus once again. There's a couple of depths trying to be a nuisance right here as well for Hero. And even though I would say that Trap was the one favorite here in the earlier part of the game, I don't mind this position here for Hero whatsoever. Going for that really clever Dark Templar play. Still though, this is certainly not game over just yet. Trap does still have a scary force. He did just force the council there, but I think he is gonna go in for the final engagement here because he doesn't have the economy to continue onwards with this game any longer. That's still a lot of Protoss units. Excellent War Prism micro once again for Trap, picking up as many of those weakened units as he could, but the army of Hero was just simply much too big. And he is going to be the one who obtains the victory after getting significantly outmaneuvered in the earlier part of the game. What a match. Went behind? Dark Templar. Looks like the old mantra still remains. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon so you get notifications as soon as future videos go live. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile. And I'll see you in the next one.